Hey all, this is Jaume from Openfort, and I'm recording this video to show you how you can use Firebase authentication together with Firestore and Openfort to offer a seamless experience to your users while enabling a login with email or social, as well as a login with their wallet using WAGMI as React hooks. So if we go ahead now, I can show you a very quick demo of how this will look at the end. So basically, if we go here in this link that you can find in the repository in samples in the GitHub of Openfort, you can press here on live demo and you'll see here this demo. And so here what you can basically see is that you can basically sign up. You can either sign up Google here, for instance, which will create a managed account with Openfort. So if I go ahead here and choose this email, you will see that I get logged in. And here I can go ahead and interact, of course, with the secured endpoints. You can see here, you can see the email I just logged in. It's using the regular authentication methods from Firebase, and I can, of course, can collect an item. And here the whole experience, of course, is pop-up-less because we're using a managed account. So the interesting part here is that, of course, you can onboard your users that are using the regular social login and all these providers that Firebase supports. So if we go here, we can see that this is the email that got just created. Whenever a user gets logged in, you'll be able to see here that we basically create as well a user here and we assign it to a player with Openfort. So if we go ahead here and copy the player, let's make sure that it's the same user ID. It's HE. And so if you go here, it's this one here, HE. So if we copy this ID, we can go ahead and go here into the player's endpoint. What we'll be able to see, it's this one here. This is the one that we just created, and you will see that we just minted a certain asset. So this is basically what happened. Awesome. So what I wanted to show you next is Awesome. So what I wanted to show you next is how you can now also log in for users that want to use their wallet. And so let's go ahead and sign out. So you'll see as well, now I don't have access to the private endpoint. So if I go up and press here and sign up, I can press here on connect wallet. And so what is basically happening here is that we create a custom token with Firebase. And then we use this custom token basically to as the authentication token between Firebase and our application. And so you can see the whole flow that is happening is that we first authenticate the user. So this is the user we just created. We assign the user ID with the wallet that we just assigned to it. Then we go ahead and add a new row into our table. We assign a nonce to test that the user has access to this wallet. We ask it to sign a nonce. So if you go here back in the code, you'll be able to see, if you go here into first, let's go here in sign up, you'll be able to see that we have the method called here, this login with Google, login with wallet. You'll be able to see first we call get nonce. So here, if we go here into get nonce, let me make sure it's a bit bigger. So if we go here in the method of get nonce, what basically is doing is we first look if the user already exists. If it exists, we return the nonce that we create. If it doesn't exist, then we basically create it with the address as I've just shown you. Then we create basically the account on Openfort here. And then, because it's custodial, we basically create an account in Openfort that assigns it as also self-custodial. So the only person that will be able to interact with this account will be, of course, the owner, basically the MetaMask. So what is very interesting here and that I'd like to show you is that now, as you can see, we are authenticated. And so if I go ahead and press here and collect item, it will request basically a signing from the MetaMask, right? You will see that we don't have to pay for any transaction fees. The main reason is that I am using a policy from Openfort to sponsor these transactions. So I have done that already. So if we go here into Openfort and check on this account that we just added, this is the account that we just added. Basically, as you can see here, this account is non-custodial compared to the other one. Let's go ahead. This one here, you can see here this account is managed by Openfort, but this other account is not managed by Openfort. So we just minted a certain asset. But in this case, what we can do to enable a pop-up-less experience is to register a session. So if you go ahead here and register a session, and of course, you don't need to have this as a different button. This is something you can enable in the same flow of the game. But basically, when we register a session here, we're basically defining a session key that lives in the client of the front end of the user that never leaves the front end of the user, and that is used to sign transactions on their behalf when they approve and do a certain transaction on the front end. So you never have access to this key. So it's still, everything is self-custodial. So, and we check this, we can check this here in the code. Basically on the register session, we are defining how long it will be valid for, basically the policy that we use to make it gasless, and the chain. So if we go ahead here now and go back into our user, we can press here and refresh. You can see that we currently have an active session. And so here are like the different characteristics that we have of the session that we just defined. But if we go ahead now and mint a certain asset, let's collect an item, what you will see is that we have no pop-ups at all, even though the user is interacting with their self-custodial account. So this, me as a developer, I didn't have to care if I am using, if I am interacting with a custodial user or a non-custodial user. Both have the same experience for you as the developer. As you can see here, me as a user, I don't have any annoying pop-ups. So if you go ahead here and see and press on refresh, you'll see here that the asset is being minted. So yeah, and it's been successful. Here you can see all the relevant information that happened. And yeah, that's basically, we just enabled a pop-up-less experience using Firebase. Of course, you can collect all the necessary information and interact with Firebase as you would usually do. That's quite convenient if you want to use Firebase as your go-to solution for authentication and Firestore as your storage service. That's all I wanted to show you today. Last thing I want to mention is that you, of course, can find all this in the samples directory in this repository called Firebase WAGMI NextJS. So here you'll find all the different information as well as the live demo, and I will include this video as well if you need any further comments. Of course, you can feel free to contact us to get support in any possible issues you might find. Thanks a lot for your time.